Welcome to Bits and Pieces Quilting. Today I want to take these templates and show you how to use them in a slightly different way. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today I want to take these templates, which are designed to be used with a 10-inch square, and I want to show you a different way that you could think about using them if you have templates like these. So let's dive right in. I was recently back in Canada and working with my mom on some quilting projects, and she showed me these templates that she had bought, and they are so much fun. They're intended for 10-inch squares, and Mom had a collection of layer cake squares that we ended up making a really cute quilt out of. And I asked if I could borrow them because I think I want to make my own quilt, but I generally don't buy layer cakes. Just not my thing. And I thought, I wonder if there's a way that I can use these templates intended, because you can see as you lay out these templates, they're intended to fit on a 10-inch block. And then you cut up all the pieces, mix them up, and then get a really fun, scrappy quilt. But because I don't buy layer cakes for the most part, I wondered if I could make these just out of my scraps or out of yardage and how I would make that work. And so that's what this video is about. This first piece, piece A, is an interesting point, a diamond point. And if you can imagine this rotated 4 times, rotating it here, here, and then around, imagine that being the exact same color, perhaps a background color. You'll get a 4-pointed star as you go around, as you rotate these blocks around a quilt project. And so I thought that's definitely what I want to do to bring some cohesiveness to the project, is make all the A blocks the same. And then I'd like the other 4 pattern pieces just to be scrappy and to use up some pieces across my collection. So I went through my collection and started to pull fabrics. And as I looked at all the fabrics I pulled, and I'll show you a photo of the complete set of fabrics, but here's a little sample of them. I realized that I wanted to do a 6x8 layout, which is 48 blocks. And if I have 2 pieces of each of the templates from each color, I should get 24 colors. So that's what I did, is I went through my collection and I found 24 fabrics that all kind of fit that warm, comfy, homey, folk arty, I don't know how you describe all these colors, non-brights for the most part, and pulled all of those out of my collection and narrowed it down to 24. And then I looked at my neutrals and I decided on this beige as my background neutral color to make all the star points out of. And my next step was to take my ruler and to look at each of the blocks and try to decide what the strip size should be for each of the pieces. So for the first unit, the piece that I'm going to make the star points out of, I just laid it down on the ruler and realized that a 4-inch strip would work perfectly. And I can spin these around to get to make the most of the strip as I cut them along a 4-inch strip of fabric. For the other pieces, I realized that I would need a 4.5-inch strip. And let me show you how I laid them out on the 4.5-inch strip. So let me see here. We started with the E block here, like that. And then the D block will fit nicely up here, like this. The B block, and I'm just going to slide this along so you can see. The B block needs to go next to that. And then the C block down here. So from a single strip of fabric that's 4.5 inches wide, and I cut the strip of fabric in half. So this is a single strip cut in half, or if you're using fat quarters, it would be 2 strips off the fat quarter. And I was really grateful that I thought about it in advance. You can't do this with wrong sides together, because that would mean you have mirror image pieces, and you don't want mirror image pieces. So I'm glad I thought of that before cutting too far. You want to make sure that you have right side up on both of your pieces that are half the width of the fabric or a single strip from a fat quarter, so that these pieces are all exactly the same. And the 4 of them fit very nicely across this half a strip. So I've started to cut out the pieces from my 24 different colors, and then we will move on to assembly. So let's cut up these strips. So I've cut a 4.5-inch strip of this great blue, and as I mentioned already, you don't want to leave this back to back. I've cut it in half, and I'm going to put right sides facing up, because you do not want mirror image pieces as part of this project. And I'm going to take a second strip because I'm comfortable cutting 4 pieces of fabric at a time, but you do whatever suits you. If you're only comfortable cutting 2 at a time, that's fine. I'm comfortable cutting 4. It also depends on the sharpness of your blade, and I'm probably getting to the point where it's time to change my blade, but I'm going to cut 4 today. So as I showed you, I'm going to lay out the E block, the D block, followed by B, and then C all along. And you can see that it fits. There's no room to waste, but it will fit. So I'm going to start with the E block. And to do that, I want to make sure that I don't cut into where the next block needs the fabric. So I'm going to just go straight up here, stop, pivot, and go straight off the end. I'll move this out of the way. And I'm very right-handed. I can't cut left-handed, and it's not very safe to cut upside down. So I'm just going to spin this around, line it up again, and then cut down this side. And then I want to be sure to cut this little notch here. This is going to help with lining up the pieces when I go to sew the blocks together. And that's the first piece. That's the E block. And I'm going to add that to my stack of E block units. And then, so next I'm going to do the D block. And I want to make sure to avoid this little snip here. So I want to move this far enough that I miss that, but close enough that I don't waste any fabric. I'm going to come in this direction again because I'm right-handed. I almost never pull the blade towards me. I just don't think it's safe. I just don't think it's the smart way to cut. But in this instance, I'm going to do it because I don't think I can start down here and hit that angle exactly the way I want it. So I'm going to start right here at the edge, dig in and pull backwards, and then go in the other direction to cut that piece. Cut the little notch off, and then spin the whole thing around. Again, very right-handed. Line it up, and then cut these last 2 sides. And that's the D block, with just a tiny little bit of waste in between. So then next we have the B block, and I can line that up nice and tight right against that same cut. I'm going to just turn this sideways, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dig in just a little bit along this template and pull backwards, and then go along this edge, along the diagonal right off the corner, and then spin the block to finish these last little sides. This tiny angle, and here, and one more little spin just to get this tiny little corner. This is going to help with the piecing when I put the pieces together. And finally, out of this last little piece, we have the C block. Again, I want to be careful. I didn't cut too deeply into here, so that's good. And I want to line up my C block like this. I'm going to cut off the edge here Oops. There we go. Cut this angle. Make sure it's lined up. Make sure my fingers are out of the way. Come down this to almost the point, and then cut the point off. Like that. And so a little bit of waste here if I'm being really finicky, but really I think I'm just going to put all of that into the trash heap. So now I have the 4 other pieces for this puzzle piece unit. Oops, there we go. And so that is how we cut these. I'm going to keep cutting. I've got 24 fabrics to cut, and then we will start to lay out the blocks and sew them together. So the next step is to take these over to the sewing machine, and these get sewn together into 2 units. So I'll sew the D and E blocks together along this seam, and I'll sew the A, B, and C blocks together along these seams, and then the 2 pieces get sewn together. So that's going to take a little while to sew all 48 blocks together. Once that's finished, I'll need to make a decision about whether I want to sash my blocks or just put them together as is. But I'll wait until they're all finished and lay them out, and then decide on that next design step. I'd like to show you why cutting these interesting edges around all of these puzzle pieces was really important. As I go to put the blue piece and the orange piece together, I'm going to use these unusual ends to help me line up my piece. So as I flip this over, the flat edge goes right across the top of the blue. I line up the sides like this, and then as I get down here, this edge lines up perfectly as well. And so I know that that piece is in the right place to sew. I'm going to run a 1/4 inch seam from the tip here all the way down, and it's going to run right off the tip on this edge as well. And that's going to give me a perfectly lined up piece. Without these cut off corners and edges, it would be hard to line it up so that it would be really straight and so that I wouldn't have to trim the blocks afterwards. You can see here in my first 2 pieces, I made sure to line up those guides as well, and I've got a nice flat edge there that won't need to be trimmed when the final block is finished. This is the first block for the quilt, and I almost always make a first block from start to finish. That way I can find any places that might trip me up as I go about making all of the other blocks, or any areas where the assembly line sewing may cause a problem. So this one turned out really well, I think, but I did realize that I wanted to press these seams open, the seam that joined the 2 halves together. I sewed A, B, and C as one unit and D and E as the second unit, and then joined those together. And I decided to press those seams open. I also decided that I wanted to press the seam between D and E open and A and B, just so that I don't have these extra thicker sections of the block. I think all of my work on some recent Elizabeth Hartman quilts has really shown me the value of pressing those seams flat, pressing those seams open, just to get a nice, beautifully flat block. And I just dove in and sewed them together as randomly as I could. I tried not to put blues together, I didn't put greens together, that sort of thing, so to make sure the colors were different. And then I did that for the top piece as well. And you can see on these ones, I have pressed all of these seams open all the way down the stack. And the same here, I pressed the seams between A and B open, but I've just pressed the seam between B and C off to the side. I may regret that when I go to put these together in the end, but my next step will be to mix these up and sew them together. I want to make sure that none of the fabrics are the same in any of the blocks, and I want to try and get a little bit of a mix of colors. So even though the fabrics might be different, I want to avoid mixing multiple blues in the same block. So I think there's 48 of them. I'll probably lay out maybe 20 of them, sew together, and then come back and do the other 28 to make sure I have a nice mix.
I decided to add sashing and cornerstones to each of the blocks, and once I had it finished, I hated it. I just didn't think that the star popped the way that I wanted it to, and all of those background colored beige lines through the whole project just did not work for me. So many hours of unpicking later, back on track with a much more simple layout, which I was much happier with.
How they look. The stars really pop now, and that sashing just bothered me. So this is the blocks all laid out with no sashing between them. And I think it's a nice layout, but I'm going to put down a few pieces of sashing, see what that looks like, and then make a final decision. And here are a few of the blocks laid out with some sashing between them. So these ones have the sashing, and those are what it would look like without the sashing. And I've got my chief consultant here with me, Jason, to see what you think. What do you think?
I like the sashing. It to me it provides a bit of structure and order to the background materials and patterns.
You think
They
it gets a little chaotic in here without any sashing?
That's exactly it. It's
Yeah.
they're the lack of structure. They're not uh, symmetrical. They're not blended in such a way. They're random. The repeated randomness, but the fabrics don't add any value to the uh, to offset the stars. So I
Okay.
like the
You like
structure.
the sashing, the structure it
Correct.
brings. And what do you think, little brown cornerstones in between where the sashings are? Or just the solid sashing?
I think just a solid sashing
Okay.
because the stars, or sorry, not the stars, but the little blocks, the keystones, just I don't know, would break it up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go see what I end up doing. And so this is the final quilt. After a couple of missteps with those cornerstones, which just didn't look right, this is the final product, and I'm really happy with the way that it looks. Do you have templates like these? Do you think you'll give this a try as a different way to use those templates? Do you have any ideas for how you might use your templates differently, whether it's these ones or others that you might have in your collection? I've been looking at my drawer of rulers and things and wondering if I'm making the very most of the tools that I already have. So I think I need to dig in and see what else I can do with the things that are already here in my sewing studio. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to make the most of your fabric bits and pieces.